As you can tell from the title of this video, we're talking about how to use your reticle. Now, a lot of this may seem a little rudimentary or elementary for some of you guys, but these are common mistakes we see over and over again in classes, especially when I'm at a class or helping with a class. Inevitably, we go through the classroom portion and Joe or whoever the instructor is will be like, okay, do you understand holds? And then everyone's like, yes. And then first thing they do out on range when we hold, it's like, hold left. And then they're way off somewhere else. So I want to go through this just to give you guys a little more confidence as you're getting ready to go to a class, or if you're getting ready to do your first competition, show you guys a couple of things, just basic things about how to use your reticle, but then also a few more advanced things and how you can pair it with your Kestrel and get more out of this Christmas tree design that you have inside of your LPVO. Let's get into it. The first thing you can use your reticle for is zero. And I know that sounds very simple and basic, but what I end up seeing is, like, I see this on range all the time, where we go out, guys will shoot a group, and then after they shoot a group, we walk down to confirm, and they'll look at it, and they're like, okay, I need to come this many inches this way and come this many inches up, and they're trying to do the math in their head, and they're like, okay, so inches to mils, and carry the 1, divide by 7, and they're making it really complicated. So a really simple way is if this is our 0, or if this is what we're aiming for, our point of aim, that's our little 1-inch square, and this is our 5-shot group, we're going to take the center of this group and we're going to measure from here to here using the reticle. So all we're going to do is place that reticle there, dead center of the square. Now, right here, so you guys can see it. So this is the center right there of our group, and then this is going to be kind of what we're going for. So to get from here to here, we're going to have to come up 2.5. So that's 1 mil, 2 mil, half a mil. To come up 2.5 mils, and then we're going to have to come right. That's 1, 2.5. So we're going to go right 2.5, up 2.5, and that should put us there. And that's just a faster way to get your 0. You're still going to have to confirm it, but that'll save you from having to do all the math and do all like the crazy, funky, weird stuff. So all you got to do, take your reticle, measure from your point of aim to wherever the center of your group is, and then just measure from there to there, make that correction, and you're good to go. Very simple way to get your 0 in. Make it super fast, save you a lot of headaches, especially if you're changing optics and changing barrels and whatnot. From there, we're gonna go into holds. So holds is the other thing that we do see a lot. And it's like, okay, you know, wind's coming left to right. So let's say the wind is coming from this side, it's coming this way. And so we'll tell them to hold left. And then what they end up doing is missing way over here. So then we tell them, okay, hold further left. And we'll give them a number based on the wind and how far they missed. And then inevitably, they miss over here. And it's like, which way are you holding? So I'm holding left. Well, you keep missing to the right. So when we say hold left, you're going to hold, if your reticle is in the center, you're going to move it to the left so that your impacts are impacting here. Now, depending on what your hold is, let's say your wind hold is 1.5 mils, and let's say this is at 300 yards. Now, it's not to scale, but let's say that's your target at 300 yards and you're holding 1.5 mils. So you'd probably be somewhere around here. And your hold is going to be 1.5. So 1.5, don't want to do that. So 1.5 is going to put you right about here. But we already know that the wind is coming left to right. So you're only using this half of the target here. So what you actually want to do is, if 1.5 is going to put you on the target, center of target, probably better off favoring left a little bit. Give yourself a little bit more leeway so you're using this whole target. Some guys will just put it way over here on the edge, depending on where you're at your skill level and what the wind is doing, you know, environmentals and how well you know your data and all that. Like that will ultimately affect, you know, where you're going to hold at. But I would say if you know 1.5 is going to put you center, maybe favor left just a little bit to give you more room for the bullet to catch the target, because the wind isn't constant. It's constantly changing. It's going up and down, faster and slower. It's changing directions, it's fishtailing, whatever. So you may get more or less. So that's why I say if 1.5 gets you center, favor left. That way, if the wind dies down a hair, you're still on target. And if it picks up a little bit, you're still on target. And then make corrections as needed. Always correct for center. Hopefully that makes sense. Wobble zone. So this thing is a giant ruler, right? That's all this is. This is just a big giant ruler. Now this with the things we're talking about works for any reticle. So if you've got a vortex, you can do it with a vortex. If you've got like a Mil XT, you can do it with that too. All these reticles are designed for different things. You can look up all their measurements from whatever their manufacturer website is. They have the reticles in there to tell you like this is 0.1 mil, this is 0.5. So you can look up all that on there, but they're just big rulers to help you make more educated decisions, to be more precise in your shooting when you're shooting at distance with speed. Wobble zone is a measurement. When we talk about wobble zone, let's say that we're using the center dot here. And wobble zone is how much that dot is wobbling around there, right? So like good enough wobble zone is if it's doing this and it's wobbling inside the target, like say you're on a tripod or something and it's just rocking up and down, that's good enough wobble zone. Break that shot. If your wobble zone is like this and you're just bouncing around the target, you need to reduce that wobble zone. So you can use your reticle to measure your wobble zone. So like on something more refined, like the Mill XT, if your wobble zone is doing this, we can tell that it's about 0.3 to 0.5 of wobble up and down there. And you can use that to measure to see, okay, like keep a consistent record of like, okay, I know standing, I can get down to 0.2. I know kneeling, I can get down to 0.1. I know that if I'm in like a low standing and I gotta have a super awkward stance, best I can do is 0.5, right? So like if you're sitting here and you see 0.5, just know, hey, that's as good as it's gonna get, right? So maybe what you wanna do is let this thing bounce here, and once you see that come back down, break that shot there. Just a simple way to keep track of your wobble zone, to have some kind of actual metric behind it, and try to give yourself the highest percentage of making that shot. Then we're gonna go over here to correction. So let's say, so we're just gonna use this as our target. Again, none of these are to scale, but let's say we were aiming dead center, right? We had a target, we're aiming dead center, and we miss, and our impact is up here. Again, this is a ruler, as we talked about with the wobble zone, and this is something that Sidewinder Concepts talks a lot about. You know, if you miss, you can see where does that go, and take your reticle and measure from where you were. So we know, based on this, again, we need to come down, so that's 1.5. We want to be center. So 1.5, we need to come down 1.5, and we need to come over 2, and that should put us center. So if we were aiming here, then we need to come down 1.5, put us there, and then over 1, 2. That's where we need to be aiming to correct our shot. That's the fast way to make your correction. You'll see guys in competition, you'll get that miss, and they'll see that. You'll see that in the berm, and then they continue to fire here over and over again. It's like you got to do something different. And Joe, Bruiser Industries, always talks about make bold corrections, right? So it's like I shot and I saw the dust come up over here, but I'm not quite sure, and so they'll go here. Okay, we already know that we're aiming high and right. So is that going to be enough to correct that? No. Make a bold correction. So if you know that you were aiming here and it's way off over here, you need to at least come over and down like that, right? Then give yourself something. Again, try to use this whole target to catch the bullet. So easy way to make fast corrections. The fifth way that you can use your reticle is to measure. Again, just a giant ruler, So this is from Walter, what is it? Walter Shoby, Sobek Security. I'll leave a link for him down below in the description. This is it's just a little target. It has a bunch of like things that you would see commonly in North America, and it gives you measurements in mils. So you can use this to, like, if you have this, I use this with the Range R card, that clear one I showed you guys in another video. I will put these two together so that way I have a quick way to kind of range something with the Range R card. If I have something I can measure that's on here, I can measure. You can make your own custom one. You don't have to buy this, like just know the actual measurements of it. But this is a super simple, easy way to do it. So like it's got all the items here across the top. It tells you what their measurements are in mils at different distances. And then if you want to do the math yourself, it gives you these items again. So like your stop sign, it gives you a little coyote, and it's giving you the measurement in inches, so you can do the math yourself. And in case you forgot, you don't have it written down anywhere, it also gives you the equation at the bottom. So you can do all the math yourself. But this is a cool way to measure items. So taking your reticle, and we're going to measure this stop sign. So this stop sign here is, I'd say, about 0.9 to 0.8 mils. So we're going to come over to the stop sign. Let's move this here. So we're going to come over to the stop sign. We're going to go down until it's about 0.9 or 0.8. So that stop sign is about 900 to 1,000 yards based on the measurement there. And then if we go to the larger stop sign and we measure from that one, so we're at about 1.2 to 1.3. So 1.2 to 1.3 would put us about 700 to 600 yards. So we have a rough range estimation there that we can make a better educated guess on how far that target is. And so maybe, we're not shooting the stop sign, but it's giving us a reference for things that might be around the stop signs, so we can make an educated shot, first shot, and then again, make corrections as necessary. So if we measure it and we, it's gonna get us pretty close, and we take that shot and then you spot your miss, you can make that quick follow-up shot like we talked about off of this. So this gets into the fun stuff. So speed drop. Now this is where, you guys know I work with Kestrels, and I'm a big proponent of Kestrel, but I was a proponent of Kestrel before I ever did anything with them. It's just that being able to unlock all the features that this has and does so much for you that most people don't realize. Most people just use it as a wind meter and they just read wind with it. Like, okay, cool, it's got some of the stuff in there. I can do that on my phone. This does way more than that. And so I want to show you guys some of that. You can use it for speed drops. So that's gonna be the first thing we're going to talk about. Now, if you want to see how to do all this or figure all this out, there's a whole masterclass video on this on the Kestrel. You can go watch that. It's like an hour and a half-ish, but well worth it. Ton of information in there. For my speed drop, I've set it for 0.1 mil of error. So you can set it at 0.2 or 0.1. Again, go watch the video if you want to find out how to do this. But my speed drop is going to be 1.6 mils. So let's write all this down and I'll show you guys how to use it. So speed drop is going to be 1.6, giving us a range of 193 yards to 463 yards. So what you're going to do is dial 1.6 up. So essentially it's moving your 0 up to about right here. But what that does is it takes everything from 193, so essentially like right here, we're going to say right about here, 1.9 to about 4.6 essentially becomes, that's your hold. So for 200 yards, you just hold 2. For 300 yards, you hold 3. 400 yards, you hold 4. Kind of creating a sort of BDC for you, but it only works in this range. So if your spotter or whoever gives you a number, if you use this card or like a range R card, and you find your distance, you can just take that distance and then put it into your mill reticle and hold it. So if somebody says, oh, it's 225 yards, you just come right here and hold there. That's it. Or if they say, oh, it's 390 yards, you're going to hold right here. That's it. That's all you got to do. It makes it super simple to go through and hold. Now, what if you have to make a more precise shot? So one of the cool things about the newer tacker reticle is it gives you these 2 dots above. So this is 1 mil and 2 mil. So you can go between these two, and that's 1.5 there. So you know your 0 is back to right here. So if you know like from your 0 you need to hold, you can just count down and do it that way if you want to just go back. So maybe you're walking around with your speed drop dialed on at 1.6, and then you just know like, hey, if I need to make a really precise shot, it's going to be like right around here for my 0 and then go off of that. Just use it however you want, but just ideas. I'm just throwing it out there that you can use this reticle for a lot more than most guys realize. All right, so let's move on to max point blank. So for our max point blank, I've limited my target to 10 inches. So my max point blank, that's my area that I'm aiming for, is a 10-inch area. And it's telling me that I need to dial 1 mil up. So it says my max point blank range is 320 yards. And my no-go is 0.87 mils. What do all these numbers mean? How do we make sense of this? What does this have to do with the reticle? So you can take that 10 inches, you can change it right in your Kestrel. You can change it to 12 inches, 8 inches, whatever you want. You know, whatever zone or size target you're trying to aim at. And this can be, you know, on a vital zone, on a deer. It could be, you know, whatever use case you may have you can come up with, you can change that. So maybe you know the smallest target you're going to shoot in any match is 10 inches. You can do that. There's different ways you can mix this in. There's all kinds of stuff you can do with it. But anyways, for us, we're going to say 10 inches is the zone that we're going for, right? So we know that we're going to shoot a target no bigger than 10 inches across the board. So we're dialing 1 mil, so it's moving our 0 up to here. This is a 1 mil above. Again, this works on the Attacker, the new DMX reticle. It doesn't work on some of the other ones. But our 0 has moved up to here. But what it means is that using the center dot, we can aim dead center on any target from 0 out to 320 yards, and we're going to be in that 10-inch zone. So that's what our max point blank is. We can measure, again, we talked about this is just a ruler. We can measure once we get beyond, so 0.87 is going to be right around here. Any target that is larger than that in our reticle, we know is a no-go for us. If we look in our reticle and we see a target that is this big, that's only 0.5 mil, we know that's a no-go for us. That target is too far away. It's outside of our zone for max point blank, so we're gonna have to take time and figure out and be more refined with taking that shot. But anything outside of this 0.87, so if it's larger, so if it's like this big, we know that's well within it. If it's here, we know that's well within it. But once you get past this 0.87, it's a no-go. We're not taking that shot. Our max point blank is off. It's something that takes training, getting used to. But again, I just want to show how you can get creative and use your reticle for more than what you see a lot of guys doing on the internet. And then the last thing is BDC. Now, I'm not going to go like way into this because it wouldn't really make sense. But all you're going to do is go through your Kestrel or whatever ballistic solver you have. and you're just gonna find like what your yardages are at each one of these numbers. So if you know like at your 2 mil, you know that's going to be 300 and whatever, 380 yards or whatever it is. And then you just keep going down through that, and you can assign those. And you can put it on like an arm card, or you can put it on some sort of data sheet and just know like, okay, so if you needed a quick BDC, you could do that. There's a couple other ways you can use your reticle as well. Joe has his flash milling that he uses that works really well. Ridgeline has their own combination of a few of these that is also very cool. So check out both of them for that. So there's different ways you can utilize this just ruler that we have in our optics. So hopefully you guys found that helpful. Hopefully you guys found it useful. Go check out Ridgeline. Go check out Veracity Solutions. Go check out Bruiser Industries. Check out Sidewinder Concepts. JVS Training Group. There's a whole bunch of guys out there putting out a ton of good information, and you can learn a lot on the internet right now. So it's a wealth of information. So I will link all of them down below. If you guys have questions about any of this, leave them in the comments. Make sure to like and subscribe. Karate chop that bell so you get notified every time I upload a video, and I will see you guys in the next one. I really hope that made sense. Whew. Money. Freaking money. Oh, whale.